The purpose of this video is to teach you how to draw supply and demand zone. This zone is called the base and is the start of a major move by a bank or other financial institutions. It is extremely critical to draw the zones correctly, so you want to pay attention. This is because by doing so, you'll be able to identify exactly when the next big move will occur and join the big players at the right moment. The goal of banks and financial institutions is to make the most money by selling or buying at the right price. When they want to buy or sell large quantities, they usually do so in parts, since they are the aggressive buyers and sellers that cause the market to rise and fall. By observing when supply and demand zones develop and by waiting for price to return to them, you and I can enter the market with them at a high probability, high risk to reward level. So let's get into it. Let's talk about how to draw supply and demand zones. So there are two lines that we're going to talk about when it comes to drawing the zones. There's a line that's referred to commonly in the industry as the distal line, and that's the outer line of the zone. It's placed away from the current price, right? So that's the outer line of your zone. The proximal line is the inner line of the zone, placed nearest to the current price. So you don't have to memorize these names, but the key is that you learn that there are two lines that you want to draw, and that forms that there's an outer line and an inner line. I'm giving you the technical terms so that if you see them or hear them referred to, you know what they are. If you're talking to a trader or listening to a trading podcast or just having a discussion about supply and demand, and it gets technical, but you'll become so used to drawing supply and demand that you won't necessarily remember the lines as distal and proximal, but I'm giving you the technicals just in case. So for the supply zone, the outer line is going to be the distal line and the lower line is going to be the proximal line. For the demand zone, the lower line is going to be the distal line and the inner line is going to be the proximal. Okay, so let's look at how we form these. So what we do is when we notice or find, we will take the last candle. So this is a drop, base, drop. So we'll take the top of the last candle before the drop. We'll take that candle here. This is a doji. We're going to take that line, and that top line will form our distal line. And then the bottom wick of that candle is going to form the proximal line for the supply zone. So that's the boundary, that's the zone that gives us an idea of where price may come into and where we can put our stop loss. Okay, so let's look at another example. So here we have a rally and then we have a basing candle here. Okay, this is a bearish candle. It's not too strong, but this is the last candle before the big move to the upside. So the base candle will be our big move. The base candle will be the last candle before the big move to the upside. So this is our base candle. We take the bottom wick and draw our distal line. We take the top wick and draw our proximal line. Okay, and those are our two lines that we will draw to form the demand zone. So here's another example with GBP, JPY on the daily. So price rallies, base, rally up, wait for price to come back here, and price explodes up to the upside. So this candle here is the candle that we will use to form our distal line and proximal line. So this candle here is the last candle before the big aggressive buy to the upside. So that's why this one will be our base candle. So rally, base, rally, price comes back here to the demand zone and then explodes to the upside. So now we're going to jump right into the different types of base candles, the different examples that we have in the next video.